What is up, Hulkamaniacs? And thank you so much for tuning in to another brand new episode of Big Boys and Body Slams, episode 7. Are we at 7?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Episode 7 already.
Lucky
Big Boys
number.
and Body Slams. My name is Zach. Alongside me to my left, I have Luke.
Hey guys.
Whoa.
No, wait, no impression?
What was I supposed to?
Okay, to be fair, this was not an impression-worthy show.
No, this is a bad show.
The show was an impression of ECW.
Yes.
A poor one at best.
Posing. And to my right, we have Kyle.
Hi, I'm still here.
We
Haven't been fired yet.
Not
still
fired
here.
yet.
We use his house. I mean, we use his studio.
No, his studio, his professional.
We use his
professional
recording studio, so we kind of need
He lets his cats hang out here. It's kind of weird.
to have him stick around.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, like I said, we are Big Boys and Body Slams. We are coming to you on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud,
Yep.
and the Google Play Store. Still on Spotify.
I'm
Dude,
coming.
We're gonna have to like NWO or D-Generation X style show up at the Spotify headquarters.
Hulkamania is gonna have to run wild on Spotify.
Who's with us?
Does anyone have a tank?
For like an
Yeah, I'll make
invasion?
some calls. Yeah, I'll make some
Yeah,
calls.
just call your tank buddies.
Yeah.
Tanks are us.
We also have merchandise for sale on the internet. We sold no shirts this week. Wah wah. But we do have some cool designs up. We've been stagnant for a while. To be fair, we haven't had any new designs up in a while. I got to get my design bug.
We got a couple in the works.
My design bug back. Yeah. But that is at bigboysbodyslams.storeenvy.com. Check out our merch store. We got some cool merch up there. Yes, Kyle?
And don't forget about Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/bigboysandbodyslams.
Yes.
We got to get some patrons coming in. There's some great perks. We're not being greedy. You get some great perks for contributing to our Patreon page, early access, a whole show which we're dying to record, by the way.
Please spend $8.
But if we recorded it now, we'd be listening to it ourselves, and we're not going to pledge to our own Patreon. So yeah, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/bigboysandbodyslams.
We can't do that?
I mean, we could. I fiscally, it doesn't make that much sense, but I mean,
Let me just cancel my subscription.
awkward. And again, if you don't want to spend money to contribute to the podcast, that is A-OK as well. We have tons of other ways you can support us. Subscribe to us on all of our platforms, YouTube, iTunes, the Google Play Store. Leave a review, drop a comment, interact with us. We just want to hear from you. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And please, please, please drop us a comment. Drop us a message. Just talk to us. DM us on Twitter. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. We
are lonely people.
Your friends.
Please interact.
Oh, and ask us some questions on Twitter. We want to do a special...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we're going to do a Q&A live stream at some point in the future. So get on Facebook, get on Twitter, ask us wrestling or non-wrestling related questions. We want to get interactive with our fan base and our audience and have some fun. So
lots of fun.
Today was not so much fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
It was fun. Today's show is, of course, from the ripe year of 2006. December of 2006, we have ECW, December to Dismember. ECW's only pay-per-view post One Night Stand. And One Night Stand 2, correct. And there is reason why. So I kind of wanted to get this show because it is kind of a historically bad show, for lack of a better term, I guess. But I just wanted to get it out there. And again, because we did do One Night Stand a few weeks ago, and to see in just a few short months, because that was summer of 06, and from summer to the end of the year, just how far ECW had fallen in such a short period of time is fascinating to me.
What's sad about that, too, is the roster necessarily isn't the worst. Because you have guys like CM Punk, guys like Test, guys like... The Hardy Boys were on here that could have probably been on the roster, Eminem, and it's just bad. You got all these ECW originals and all these young talent and some of these veteran talents. I mean, Hardcore Holly's another one. I thought Elijah Burke was a pretty good wrestler. There's a lot of guys that probably could help elevate this brand.
I think the thing for me, so I mean, I guess spoiler alert, this is not a good show that we're talking about today. Historically
great.
bad, actually.
It's great.
I think the thing, and I'll kind of, I guess usually I'd save this kind of comment for the end, but I guess I can get it out of the way now, is just uninspired, I think is a word you could use to describe the show. Just nothing, there was no passion. It was just a wrestling show. It felt like a house show that was on pay-per-view.
It felt like an independent show with an elimination chamber.
Well, because there were hardly any promos. I mean, there were no real big storylines to follow.
I was going to say there's like no feuds.
No, it was just match.
Yeah.
No story.
Well, should we get into it?
Yeah, do it.
So we open
brother.
ECW December to Dismember with a video package hyping the show, really hyping the main event, because there was really only 2 or 3 matches advertised for the show. The show only had 5, I think.
6.
6 matches total. A lot of those were thrown on like the day of the show. I remember the advertisement for the show advertising the main event and much more. One of those kinds of things, which is not a good way to advertise your show. But we do get a video package to open the show. And, of course, the song for the show is Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. I was stunned when I heard that they actually spent the money to license this song for the show.
What an original song for a show. You would never, ever see a show use this.
To be fair, they probably already had it licensed, and they were just let's dust this bad boy off.
It's like the most generic theme song for a pay-per-view.
I'm pretty sure, there's been a couple WWE pay-per-views.
That's what I'm saying, and every single UFC pay-per-view has Let the Bodies Hit the Floor.
I'm pretty sure there's at least one WrestleMania that has it. I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. So we do get a small video package and the song to open the show. And after that, we go right into action, and we have Eminem versus the Hardys. Eminem is Joey Mercury, Melina, and Johnny Nitro. If you don't remember...
not in that order, though.
Yeah, it would be Mercury, Nitro, Melina.
If you want to save the best for last.
Yes. So Eminem comes out first. They are looking glam and fab in the best sense of the word. And Melina is escorting them to the ring. Her bosom shots right off the bat. There are bosom shots abound. This might be the most bosom shot heavy show.
Oh, it's close.
Shockingly so. There was a point in one of these matches where with Ariel that was like, whoa, I wouldn't let my kids watch this show. Yeah. Oh yeah. The way she was dressed. Safe to say that this was a bit of an objectifiable show for the women talent. But they are accompanied by Melina, and then of course the Hardy Boys come out after that to a big pop.
The Hardy Boys, it's kind of weird here because Jeff is the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
It looks like they showed a video package before the match hyping up Eminem versus the Hardys, and it kind of looked like they might not have been together at this point, but they came together.
Like a one night only.
Yeah, to kind of make this pay-per-view special, if that
passable.
This was just something that was thrown onto the show because they knew they needed a decently hot opening match. The Hardys can always get a pop.
There was a bit of a backstory though.
Yeah,
so
they did.
At least this one had a feud, kind of.
Yeah, and they did put it was a very short video package, but at least it existed. At least they put the effort into to kind of presenting this as a storyline match when this was just something kind of thrown on the show to add.
I also want to say I think Eminem is kind of a forgotten team that kind of saved tag team wrestling in the WWE for a little bit.
They were a good heel tag team.
Because
they were.
I mean, look at those years. Who else was there?
Billy and Chuck.
No, this was way after Billy and Chuck.
After that.
This was like Deuce and Domino era.
Yeah, Basham Brothers.
Deuce and Domino. I mean, Los Guerreros were pretty badass, but
yeah. Well, obviously, Mercury had himself a career already up to this point, and the things that were to come for Johnny Nitro, and are still. I mean,
Nitro's such a stud.
He's still such an amazing
main eventing
talent.
Bound for Glory.
Yeah, he's
coming
great,
up.
and so it's obvious that all 4 guys in this match are immensely talented.
Oh yeah.
And I guess we'll get into this match.
Melina's talented too.
Okay. So lots of hip tosses and arm drags to start this match. This match started off very, very slow. Jeff Hardy did get a springboard kick into Johnny Nitro, and then some double team work from the Hardys to Nitro in the ring. And then, of course, we get a "We Want Tables" chant right off the bat. Unfortunately for the fans, you are not going to get any... You will hardly get any table action in this show, unfortunately, for them. But they did want the tables right off the bat. Matt Hardy hits a really nice crucifix bomb for a near fall to Nitro, and then immediately gets taken out after that by Mercury, and they go outside of the ring. At this point, I wrote down Joey Styles sounds like Diet Michael Cole. You can tell he's just being fed. He's
just going through.
He's just at work.
All of the motions.
Yeah. At one point I was like, Michael Cole sounds like he has a cold, and then I remembered, it's Joey Styles. He sounds so uninterested. And you can tell he's just
I don't think we got one. Oh my god! In this whole show,
nobody was interested in the show. Not even Taz.
No, Taz tried his best, but I mean, it was clear that there was nothing. And I don't know. Taz
was just viewing the eye candy.
I just thought I'd write that down.
Well, no, you're right, dude. Joey Styles was always at his best. A little sidebar. He was good because he was so organic.
Yeah.
There was not one line fed to him back in the day.
And here you can just tell that he's just being fed almost everything. He sounds like the corporate WWE shill that we've all come to talk down on in today's WWE. back then it was the same thing was happening, and it was pretty clear listening to Styles' commentary. I thought throughout the entire show.
I mean, I think Joey Styles is probably in my top 5 announcers of all time.
For
But
sure. For sure.
he sounded so not interested, uninspired.
Not to talk bad on Styles because he's great and his.
I mean,
his calls are so memorable.
Thinking about my favorite announcers, he's probably top 3. King and Lawler, or King and JR and Joey Styles are probably my 3 favorites.
What? You're not going to put Bobby Heenan in there?
Bobby Heenan's probably top 5. Don Callis is also probably in there. That's probably my top 5.
What's your guys' Mount Rushmore of announcers? Let us know on Facebook.
Okay. Are we going to do that later on?
I mean, no, but they can let us know. I don't have a list prepared.
I will piss off.
So, thank you. So after this point, Jeff gets just gets the heat for what feels like an eternity in this match. He's getting worked over by both Mercury and Styles and Melina at one point, who, due to a ref involvement, gets some shots in on him on the outside. He eventually goes for the hot tag, but Matt gets pulled out of the ring by Mercury and does not allow that to happen. So again, Jeff continues to get the heat on him. Eventually, he does get the tag, and one of my favorite spots in this match was Matt went over the top rope and took out Mercury. Nitro went over the top rope, took out those 2 men, and then of course Jeff Hardy, the daredevil that he is, gets on the top rope and takes out everybody on the outside. That did get a pretty good pop, probably maybe the biggest pop of the night.
Close.
It was one of the cooler spots of the night, I thought. I mean,
it was one of the cooler spots.
It's something you see a ton now in multi-person matches, but just something to inject a little fun into this match was much needed.
Also, earlier on, Melina tried to grab Matt's foot. And Matt came outside and started he got this look in her eye, started chasing her, and I think he was getting a little bit of that PTSD he gets when he sees redheads. Man, I was scared for Melina.
And then he chased her, and then was it Mercury jumped out from crouching behind the staircase?
Yes,
and clotheslined him.
Classic heel.
There's a lot of Mercury outside of the ring working over the legal and a non-legal man in this match.
Yeah.
I feel like Nitro was the legal man the majority of this match, if I'm thinking back to it
I mean, the referee didn't care, so why should you?
Half the time I had no idea who the legal man was in this match because people were just coming and going. And mind you, this is an ECW show, but this was not this was a regular rules match, as every match was except for the Elimination Chamber, I believe. We had one Striker rules match in there as well.
Nice.
But, yeah, we'll get to that. At one point, Eminem hit the Whisper in the Wind.
That was cool.
The Poetry in Motion, I mean.
Poetry in Motion, yeah. It was a good move.
I love tag teams stealing other tag teams' moves, or just guys stealing other guys' moves in general, and that was a good cocky heel move. It did get a lot of heat from the crowd as well. Towards the end of the match here, Jeff Hardy does go for the Swanton once and misses it after a twist of fate by Matt. And I was a little confused who was the legal man at this point. This is towards the end of the match, and I think it was Nitro. He went for the Swanton on Nitro and misses. But then Nitro popped right back up, which made me think, was it maybe Mercury? We didn't go back and look because it just wasn't worth it to us to go back and watch anything in the show again. Yeah, who took the twist of fate. It seems to be Nitro because he was the legal man here, as he did come in and hit a springboard dropkick for a near fall onto Jeff right after that. Eventually, though, the Hardy Boys do get a Poetry in Motion of their own, showing them how it's done. You can't get any better than that, which does lead to a distraction again. Melina gets involved towards the end of the match, and we get a cradle attempt for a near fall from Eminem, and then Matt comes back in, hits a double neck breaker, and then stacks Nitro on top of Mercury, and we get a double Swanton bomb for the finish. Hardy's win. What do you guys think of the match?
It started out slow. It got kind of more interesting in the middle, and I think the ending kind of took it home in a good note.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good tag team work by 2 of the best tag teams in the business.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was probably the best or second best match on this card, but it was I would equate it to something you'd see in a tag main event slot on Monday Night Raw. It was definitely not a pay-per-view worthy tag team match, but it wasn't bad. I give it 2.5 stars. I
gave it 2 3/4. I thought it was okay. I thought it was probably the best match on the card. I think they could have done more.
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I don't think you mentioned the sexiest move I've ever seen in wrestling, which was the double slingshot. Did you mention that?
Oh, I did not mention the double slingshot. I must have glossed over to my notes.
The
At one
Hardy.
point,
Yeah,
Jeff
go
got
ahead.
hit with a double slingshot from Eminem. No Cesaro teeth breaking, but still, I mean, that's devastating.
Also, I forgot. By the way, I gave it 2.5 stars because some sweet double team moves are the only things that really made this match watchable for me. First part of it really was slow, but then they did get some sweet double team work in. I also forgot that like Melina had a whole screech thing.
Oh, that
was annoying.
She was screeching throughout this. It was worse than Vicky Guerrero. It was so annoying.
No, it was way more annoying. She was just screaming.
I'm still gonna put Vicky Guerrero at the top, but like no, she would literally screech, and I mean it was annoying. But Taz was
saving that.
Taz's women commentary this whole time is pretty hilarious, and she's just screaming like ear shattering, and he's just like, "Oh, she's such a sweet girl."
I marked out for that. That was pretty funny.
And then Melina, I think, got a head scissors, or somebody got a head scissors at one point, and Taz was just like, "Who doesn't want to be head scissored by Melina? Hello."
Yeah, it was one of the Hardy Boys because Melina got involved.
It was
times
Matt.
throughout this match.
And I laughed.
Matt Hardy, friend of the podcast. If you guys know this or not, but their WWE's network is coming out with a Matt Hardy
they're
reality
gonna shoot
show.
a pilot for. I was unclear if it was a reality show or like if it's going to be taking place inside of the Broken Woken universe.
Yeah, it's gonna be Woken, right? It's House
hope
I
Hardy.
was
so.
a bit unclear about that, but either way, I mean, it's good to see WWE kind of extending an olive branch out to Matt, and hopefully it turns out great. The pilot's going to be shot in a few weeks, I guess, according to the reports. So that is excellent. More Matt all the time. We're apparently very big fans of Matt Hardy because he keeps coming up
Matt
on
Hardy.
the show,
I love
and
you,
we have nothing but
Matt.
good things to say. So after that match,
Sir Matthew.
we got a very short RVD promo talking about the Elimination Chamber match. Not very good. Nothing really of note to talk about from it.
RVD.
Love RVD though, but
That
this
was
did
it.
nothing for me. After that, we get Matt Stryker versus Balls Mahoney.
Teacher Matt Stryker.
Teacher gimmick.
That's Mr. Stryker to you.
And what really sucks here is like Balls Mahoney had a pretty good match at ECW One Night Stand 2, and
Pretty. Okay.
this just crashes down.
So the problem was this match did not take advantage of what a Balls Mahoney match should have been, for lack of a better term, which is
Chairs.
a couple big spots and a chair shot to end it.
And getting the crowd into it.
This was a standard or a Striker rule, wrestling match.
Because the match at One Night Stand 2 was decent enough and would have been welcomed here.
Yeah, I mean I don't understand why they didn't just make this an Extreme Rules match. It doesn't make any sense to
They
me.
made it a Strikers Rules match.
They made it so. I guess we
That's
should
it.
get into it. So Matt Stryker,
Hold on. Studio Cat's fired.
yeah, the Studio Cat keeps making a cameo.
Trying to get the
appearance
15
tonight.
minutes of fame.
Yeah,
Get out of here, Studio Cat. Jeez.
So Matt Stryker comes out and he's fun enough. He's got like this pink sweater vest on, which is I think intentionally covering his tights, because once he took them off, he's wearing these like plaid tights, but he's got like an iron-on patch of his face on his ass. And it's a good enough idea, but in execution, it did not look good on camera, and like it kept giving him this wedgie, and it looked like his ass was sucking up his face in this vortex.
It was
a
bad
bad look.
It was bad wardrobe.
Ass face.
He does cut a pretty fun promo before the match, though, talking about how could he ever be extreme? He's too dignified and professional to be extreme. So this is going to be a Striker Rules match, which means the rules are going to be strictly enforced, and he was not wrong about that. And then Balls does make his entrance. And
The pink sweater, by the way, the pink sweater vest really highlighted his beautiful eyes.
It was salmon.
Dude, Stryker has beautiful eyes.
Fight me.
Okay.
Okay.
Please don't fight, guys. It was pink, though. It was not salmon.
Yes, thank you.
So the match starts as a hip toss, and then Balls Mahoney gets an armbar. Stryker gets a rope break. Stryker slaps Balls Mahoney real hard in the face. A tooth or some gum goes flying. I wouldn't doubt if it was a tooth, because Balls is falling apart at this point in this match. I mean, he looked terrible. And kind of... So commentary was making a point to talk about how bad Balls looked in this match. A little too much. Like, it almost verged on, like, you're kind of being mean to the guy. Like, Taz was really putting over how disheveled and, like, near death Balls looked. Which, like, in hindsight, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
yikes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, Balls did not look good in this match.
No, he didn't.
A long rest hold spot, and then an arm drag DDT, a sidewalk slam for a near fall by Balls, and then Balls gets crotched on the top rope. by Stryker, who then gets an armbar in, another armbar spot. Balls Mahoney gets to the rope, and then he hits the ball buster out of nowhere for the win. Balls Mahoney, that is. This was a really bad match. I had 1 star written down, but as I'm looking through my notes, I'm gonna give it 0.75. I'm knocking it. It was bad. It was just bad. It was just nothing.
I gave it 1 because the crowd kind of got a pop when he did his wind-up punches.
That's true.
Like, at least they gave the crowd something with the wind-up punches and the ball busters, so...
Dog, I am not going to give you a star because you got a pop out of a shake, rattle, and roll.
Yo, you have a dead crowd. This crowd isn't popping for anything.
So it is worth noting the crowd was decent for this first match, but it was going downhill match after match up until the very end. And I suppose if you can pop them with anything in this match, it would have been that. But Luke, what did you think?
You're gonna like this.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
I gave it a half star. But maybe if Matt Stryker pulled his head out of his ass long enough to put on a good wrestling match, it would have been more.
Guys, that's it. This podcast is over. That's the moment I've been waiting for.
Dropping the mic. It's expensive. Never mind, I won't.
Yeah, if this look up a picture of the iron-on patch on Stryker's ass because it's
in Stryker's ass.
it was in his ass. It did not work out very well. So that match happened.
It's weird to think Matt Stryker was, like, not that good for a while. Because he kind of turned into a decent wrestler and an even better announcer.
Oh, he's very good at
Yeah, he's a great in Lucha Underground, and he's a good wrestler. He came up through Defy somewhat recently. It was like maybe a year and a half ago, and has wrestled a few matches for them. And I have nothing but respect for Matt Stryker, and especially his commentary work on Lucha Underground, but this was nothing to write home about. But granted, he's working a regular wrestling match with Balls Mahoney, who at this stage in his career has no business inside of a wrestling ring, so... I'm willing to give his side of the action a little bit of a pass, but the true greats would have made that a decent match.
I mean, Balls did make it 12 years after this because he just died in like the last year or so, didn't he?
I think it was longer than a year or two, but it was.
It could have also been the fact that he just didn't care. Like that could have been a big part of it too.
Well, but it wasn't that he looked like he wasn't as big as he was at One Night Stand too. Like he had lost some weight and it was not good loss.
Yeah, he was looking.
He was
rough.
Yeah.
So after that,
R.I.P.
We get backstage. Sabu has been taken out, and it's worth kind of. It's worth kind of backing out a little bit. Sabu was advertised for the main event Extreme Rules elimination chamber match. It was slated to be Sabu, RVD, Test, Big Show, Lashley, and CM Punk. Those were the 6 men advertised for the match. But we cut backstage, and Sabu has been taken out, and the crowd is not happy about this.
I mean, they came
to see the ECW guys.
And for this main event, they wanted to see RVD, Sabu, and CM Punk.
Yeah. And to take one of the men out. And the story goes, I mean, it's questionable as to why. Some say it was an injury. I think the more believable story was that Vince just didn't trust Sabu in an Elimination Chamber match, which is a shame. I would have loved to have seen what he could have done.
Or he was high.
In a chamber match.
Yeah, that too.
And it could have been that. I mean, yeah, that could have been a large portion, a part of it too.
No, you're right though, dude. He could have been incredible.
He could have done some really cool things.
He would have had such sweet spots because he's never been in an Elimination Chamber.
Especially with RVD in there. I think the two of them could have made some magic with teaming together and working against each other.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in kayfabe terms, he is taken out backstage by a mystery assailant. This was the moment when the crowd started to lose interest in the show. Not that they were the hottest crowd I had ever seen up to this point, but this was the moment when they just started snoozing.
Yeah, no, it was just here we
it was a collective sigh. Up next, I guess we'll move on now. Up next, we have a tag team match, which is going to be Elijah Burke and Sylvester Turkay versus the FBI, of course, which is Lil Guido or Nunzio, and Mama Luke.
Tony Mama Luke.
I got to say this real quick.
Yeah.
I liked Turkay and Elijah Burke.
I was never an Elijah Burke guy.
I was always a fan of the Pope D'Angelo De Niro / Elijah Burke, whatever you want to call him.
TNA.
I mean, either. I liked him in both.
Yeah.
I thought he had charisma. I thought he had a good moveset. He was a great announcer for a little bit too.
I did enjoy him as an announcer.
Yeah, he was a good announcer. I'll concede with you there. I like Turkay though. Turkay had a good look.
I liked his look, and I liked the MMA style that they were trying to work with him.
He looked like a more fit Steven Seagal in this match, which is, I guess, how you want. So before the match, we do get a...
Hold on. You forgot.
What?
Who did the FBI come out with?
Trinity.
who was dressed in what I can best describe as satin sheets that had several holes cut in them. She was wearing almost nothing.
She left nothing to the
She was wearing a
imagination.
red dress that was just covering her privates, essentially.
Right, yeah.
She was dressed very skimpily, and she came out with the FBI. Was this like a thing back then? Was she...
I'm not sure.
Were
With
they
the
just
FBI?
trying?
I think so.
Were they just trying to throw like a female escort with as many
Yeah, just
random guys
just
as they could on the show?
Damn it.
Slut it up.
That was a Freudian slip. I meant to say subtle, like just like subtle hotties out there. Yeah, well,
not too subtle.
sorry, ladies.
Before the match, we do get a weird promo by Burke and Turkey, which essentially Burke says they're going to be like animals in heat and leave their mark on the match. That was strange.
Kinky.
I guess if some people might be into that. This match sucks. I guess we'll get into it.
I didn't think this match was as bad as you just made it seem to be.
It wasn't as bad as the previous match, but it wasn't a good match, I don't think. I guess we can get into it a little
It was
bit
about
here.
an average match.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. So they start off with the mat wrestling. Oh, we start off with Burke and Lil Guido. They start off with the mat wrestling exchange. I just like seeing Guido in the ring. Just going to throw that out there. Guido steals Burke's hat. Elijah Burke was wearing this like
Red hat.
little red hat. Like, it looked like one of those little propeller hats that you like little kids would wear, but it didn't have a propeller and it was just red. But at one point Guido steals it and wears it, and then Taz made a joke that he looked like a pizza guy, which I thought was pretty funny. He wore the hat not for too long though. I just thought that was an important detail to share with you guys. Mama Luke gets tagged in. They double team Burke for a near fall. Turkey comes in and just destroys Mama Luke. Turkey, I didn't realize how big he was until you saw him with Mama Luke. Mama Luke looked like a child compared to Turkey.
Oh, he did.
Turkey's huge, and he just, big guy, beat up Mama Luke throughout the ring for a while. Guido comes in, gets tagged in. Mama Luke manages to tag him in, goes for a crossbody, gets caught, and then just throws little Guido out of the ring on top of Mama Luke, who had rolled out of the ring at this point, and just sends him out like a piece of old trash. This is a big man doing big man things. Burke comes back in, gets a rear chin lock spot for quite a long time, and then hits a running knee, clothesline, leg sweep. It was a weird move. I was trying to debate what to call it. I guess a clothesline leg sweep is appropriate. Gets a near fall by that on Guido, and then Mama Luke gets the hot tag, takes out Turkey's legs, which is again smart way for a little guy to take out a big guy. And then we get a double flapjack to Burke for a near fall. And then Burke recovers quickly and hits the Elijah experience, also known as the stroke, also known as the skull-crushing finale for the win. Really, this match didn't do much for me. It was nice to see the FBI wrestle in a match. Always nice to see them. They sold really well for Turkey particularly. I give it 1.5.
I gave it 2. I like how they made Turkey look like a monster. So when he was in, people would hit him and he would just stand there. Or there was one point where he grabbed both the guys and was holding them there until they double drop kicked his knees and his knees went out. But he was just running through people. And I think if done right, Turkey could have been a great enforcer for Elijah Burke. And then, you could have always had the split up down the road. But I think definitely with Turkey, they missed a little bit of a mark there. I think there could have been something.
Turkey was like Rusev if he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Like you've got the same size, the same kind of demeanor, and he's also got a very, very large face. I know he's a very large man, but he's got a very, very large face. It's like Dr. Death Steve Williams-esque.
Yeah, he does. Like if Steven Seagal and Dr. Death had a baby together, it would be Turkey.
Yeah. I think they missed the mark on him though. I have a DVD somewhere. It's from an old promotion called UPW, and he was called the Predator there. Pretty good match on there. Nice.
Luke, what did you think of this match?
I gave it 2 stars. The FBI, they all did enough to make this a serviceable match and kind of pass the time. That's kind of what it felt like a lot of times. Is these matches were just like, all right, get out there, Phil, take up some time. Also, sure. Tony Mama Luke looks like thrift store Billy Kidman.
He does. That's a good point. Post-match, we do get a continued beatdown of Lil Guido, who gets muscle busted. It's essentially it was a really cool variation of a muscle buster.
Yeah, it was like from a powerbomb position.
Yeah,
the muscle buster is a move I've always loved.
I love the muscle buster.
Incredible.
I hope we see Joe bring it out soon.
I would love to.
He's teased it.
He's been teasing it, and I think they might maybe if knock on wood, he ends up taking the title. I could totally see that being the move that he does it on.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's
too.
just a quick sidebar, but
Probably down in Australia on the show coming up.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. After the match, we got backstage, and Sabu is now being loaded into an ambulance. RVD shows up, is very concerned.
Punk's
and
there too.
Punk is there as well, and the EMTs are saying something about a broken neck, and it became very clear at that moment that Sabu was not going to be in this match.
Rip.
Rest in peace to Sabu, who's still alive, but rest in peace to him in this Elimination Chamber.
Plus, we've also recently learned that he's quite a dick.
Not a very nice man, Sabu, we've learned.
But I guess we never loved him for being a nice person.
We loved him for jumping off chairs.
True.
And I would have loved to have seen him jump off a chair, too, in this Elimination Chamber match.
Okay, I want to say something before the next match.
Please.
So the next match is Daivari with the Great Khali versus Tommy Dreamer. But I want to say this right now. Tommy Dreamer is wrestling's unsung hero. This guy doesn't get the credit he deserves. Ever. Like, he has helped train guys. He has helped with the writing staffs. He's put on amazing matches. He's put his body through the line.
He was essentially running ECW in the later days.
Yeah, and he
of
wasn't
the
getting
promotion.
paid.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I have nothing bad at all to say about Tommy Dreamer.
And even if you look through his career, after he leaves ECW, he just goes place to place to put people over and make them look good.
He's still doing that.
He's in Impact right now doing that.
And House of Hardcore.
House of Hardcore is awesome.
Yeah, he's running his own promotion. He's always willing to help guys.
He was
who
just
ask.
at All In too. He
Yeah,
wrestled in the Battle Royal,
yeah.
and then he walked Cody to the ring.
Yeah.
And I think that was great. I think he deserved that moment.
Yeah,
I think the only thing he gets credit for is being like the most, like, he is ECW. He's
right.
If you're on the Mount Rushmore, he's number one.
Well, okay, let's do that real quick.
RVD.
Didn't we? Or
We
no?
didn't do it on here. We
No.
did it in my kitchen.
Okay.
I'd say RVD, Dreamer, and then the other two. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? RVD, Dreamer, 1, 2.
I don't know if I put RVD on there.
Order.
I go.
Whoa, really?
Mhm.
Okay,
You gotta put RVD.
I go
on there.
Dreamer.
Mhm.
For sure.
I go Funk.
Yep.
Yep.
I go Raven.
Mhm.
And then the next one's hard because like I want to put RVD there, but
Sabu.
I almost have to go Sandman.
Yeah,
Orson.
oh man. I would do if I were doing it. I would do Dreamer, RVD, Sabu, Funk.
Yeah, I mean
That's a
it's
good one.
That's just me throwing one out there.
It's hard because Sabu, Sandman, Taz,
yeah,
RVD can
Taz,
all-
I loved Taz in ECW, and he.
all be switched out, but you
Yeah.
have to have
Dreamer and Funk.
Dreamer and Funk on there.
Yep.
I agree with that.
And
Yeah.
then I think personally, I think Raven has to be on there.
That's an interesting take because when I think of Raven,
But he was really
I think
early.
of him in WCW more than I do in ECW.
Oh, I
but
don't.
That's a fair
I
point.
don't either,
It's a fair
but-
point.
But no,
For
I
sure.
think that
I think Raven and Dreamer were like
yes,
the feud,
the pioneers.
Yeah, the feud.
Yeah.
Like when I think of ECW feud, I think of a top feud, and I think Raven and Dreamer, and then I think RVD, Jerry Lynn.
They headlined
That's
Barely
funny.
Legal.
I think Taz and Sabu the first time Taz won the.
Yeah, I don't know if
the
I'd put
title,
RVD. I
but-
mean, RVD Jerry Lynn was awesome, but
just
because
because the match quality was
Yeah.
so good.
Let
every
us know what
time.
you guys think though.
But-
What's your ECW
Yep.
Mount Rushmore?
Hold on.
We'd love to hear.
Tommy Dreamer,
Yep.
Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, Terry Funk, and then the fourth one.
Cactus Jack.
Oh God!
That's tough.
Whoa! I'm
Throwing a curveball.
I'm
there.
gonna put Taz. I'm gonna put Taz there.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear your guys' down in
Yep.
the comments on whatever format you're watching this in or listening. We would love to hear yours.
Don't put mass transit.
You can if you want,
No,
but don't.
no, you can't.
He was basically just murdered by New Jack on a
911.
show.
So as Kyle mentioned before, up next is Daivari with the Great Khali versus
Dick
Tommy
Dudley.
Dreamer. I don't want to see the Great Khali ever in anything, and just having to see him lumber his way out to the ring. I was just thankful he wasn't wrestling on this card.
You know what? I'm going to be honest here. I was never a fan of the Great Khali, right? But I thought when they brought him back to help Jinder Mahal win, I thought he would have been great as an enforcer style outside the ring, as long as he didn't get in the ring and wrestle.
Yes.
Because, I mean, nobody wants to be karate chopped in the head by a 7'9" monster.
I totally thought that's where they were going.
Yeah, me
I
too.
did too, and then
Me too.
he never came back.
And I would have been down for that, but I do also love the Singh brothers. So
No, the Singh brothers had to be there too.
oh yeah,
I thought the
he
four
has
of
an
them.
entourage at that point.
Yeah, I thought the four of them would have been kind of cool.
I could buy it.
But
he never showed up again.
Yeah, he just disappeared. There was no really like reasoning or explanation behind it.
Yeah,
either.
he just kind of was gone after that.
And also, I think Khali was one of those guys who would come in for 6 months and then he'd be gone for 6 months, and then he'd pop back up doing something random.
When I think of Khali, I think of his title reign.
Oh,
and
God.
it just sours me to anything involving him forever.
I remember one of the first times flying for me. He was in a wrestling pay-per-view that weekend, and I was so glad I wasn't watching it.
Oh, he made me dislike wrestling for a while.
I love Mark Henry, but him and Mark Henry's title reigns at that time were just so boring.
At least Mark had the ire of the crowd behind him.
Oh yeah, and
at least he had heat.
And Mark could put on a good match.
Yeah,
but I just, and it doesn't help when you're putting Mark Henry versus like Randy Orton, or Mark Henry versus Triple H when they're all kind of slow workers.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, even putting Mark Henry versus Matt Hardy in the
that didn't
No
work out.
Mercy.
At No Mercy,
Yeah.
as we saw.
Even that was rough.
Friend of the podcast, Great Khali, though.
No.
If he wants
Yeah,
to.
no. Yeah, go ahead.
So pre-match, Daivari cuts a promo in his native tongue, which is boo. That gets heat from that crowd instantly. You better be speaking American. We're in America.
America.
Yeah. And then Dreamer comes out to a monumental pop, as monumental as it can be from a crowd of 4,500 in this arena. But they are very much behind Dreamer, and they would very much be let down by this match. So we start with a hip toss to Daivari, who rolls out of the ring, and then he gets Dreamer gets hit with a baseball drop kick by Daivari after Dreamer goes out of the ring to chase him, and then Dreamer gets sent back outside. So Dreamer goes for a little bit later on the match. Dreamer goes to go against the ropes, but Khali lowers the ropes and causes Dreamer to fall out of the ring. The ref sees it, and Khali gets sent to the back. Big Man sad, but Big Man oblige. Big Man does go to the back. So thankfully, Khali is gone from this match now, and I don't have to see him anymore. Daivari misses a splash and then gets set up in the corner and gets the Trevo drop kick to him from Dreamer, which brings out the classic or vintage Dreamer or classic Dreamer.
Vintage.
It was vintage Dreamer called by Joey Styles. He hits the Trevo drop kick to Daivari in the corner, and then Dreamer goes for the DDT, but it gets countered into a roll up and a win for Daivari.
Yeah.
Nothing happened in this match. I'm going to give it a star because Tommy Dreamer was in it.
I gave it a 1.5 stars. It wasn't good. I love Tommy Dreamer. I like Daivari. I think Daivari and Muhammad Hassan were another really big missed opportunity. I would almost say Muhammad Hassan's almost in my top favorite superstars ever. I thought he was great. But
Damn.
Yeah, he was awesome. He got some heel heat from little Kyle.
Like, what kind of numbers are we talking? Top 20? Top what?
Top 25.
Top 100.
Yeah.
No, top 25 for sure.
Shit.
Okay. Well,
Nice.
nice.
I'm going to make this list later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. You totally should. What do you think, Luke?
Maybe not top 25. I
There's
don't know.
almost nothing you can even say about this match.
No, and the finish especially was pure garbage.
Yeah,
Like Dreamer gets the baseball slide, and then he goes for the DDT, has him for the DDT, and then it was just like a lame. It was just like a lame arm reversal. Yeah, and then just a schoolboy, and then he barely held the tights. And Daivari is Dreamer has like 100 pounds on this dude.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's really sad because
1 star for ass.
I think they could have done more with Dreamer here.
You think?
I agree with you, but I don't think Dreamer needed to go over necessarily.
No, definitely not.
But this was just nothing.
So just an idea here. Why couldn't they have done a tag team match, a ECW rules match with Daivari and Khali versus Sandman and Dreamer? You could get the kendo stick shots in that would have made this match 10 times better.
I hear you, but then that means Khali has to be in a match.
Yeah, but just beat the shit out
of
him.
But in an Extreme Rules match, you can totally work around any limitations he would have had.
Again, we watched One Night Stand 2, did not have a Sandman match. Again, Sandman misused at an ECW pay-per-view.
And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
1 star anyway.
Yeah, post-match, as Dreamer's making his exit, Khali reappears like the big giant sulking movie monster that he is, and hits Dreamer with the double arm choke slam onto the ramp, and Dreamer
Good bump.
is dead as he eats this on the metal ramp. Eventually he does get up under his own power, and the crowd gives him the standing ovation. I think half of them were just assuming like he's being written out of the brand, but I believe he did continue to make appearances.
He won the
after that.
ECW title.
Yeah, he was there till the bitter end.
So thankfully he was still there after that, but the crowd did give him the nice standing ovation as he left the ring. This next match I don't want to talk about, but
You forgot there was a segment backstage.
Oh, was there?
With Paul Heyman asking Hardcore Holly to take
that's
Sabu's
right.
spot.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So after the match, Heyman approaches Holly backstage, who is very fittingly already in his ring gear, and asks Holly if he would be willing to take Sabu's place in the Elimination Chamber match. And Hardcore Holly says, yeah, sure. And that was that. And I just thought it was funny that he was in his ring gear, just backstage, even though he was not on the card.
Hardcore Holly's always ready
I
to go.
always wonder that when I'm watching a show, and like, so say somebody accompanies another guy to the ring, and the guy who's in the corner is wearing their ring gear. Like, why are you wearing your ring gear? You're not wrestling.
So like on TV, I understand, because, like at least in kayfabe terms, because technically the GM could book you in a match on TV, but on a pay-per-view, like, why was he even there if he wasn't advertised to be on the show?
Well, they do. I mean, like a non-kayfabe thing is they do pay guys to show up to be backups and to be in their ring gear and ready for like any sort of emergency.
And I guess Hardcore Holly was the backup for this match,
I have
and he
to
accepted.
Didn't he have an ECW title run?
I
don't
think
believe so.
I have to say though, I always loved Hardcore Holly's attire.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just simple and
it was
clean
simple but colorful. Like
Yeah.
it was like purple and yellow and red and green, and I was like, oh.
Remember when he used to be a race car driver? Gimmick?
Spark plug?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
So Hardcore Holly is going to take the 6th man spot in the upcoming Elimination Chamber match, and now we get to talk about
this crap.
Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly versus Ariel and Kevin Thorne in a mixed tag match.
And I think I have to admit, I was both a Mike Knox and a Kevin Thorne fan.
I was not.
But I know you guys have some guilty pleasure wrestlers. Let's hear them.
So this is tough because I guess I've always kind of just been like a go with the grain kind of guy. And when it comes to pro wrestling, the guy I can think of who had very real heat was X-Pac, and I was always a big X-Pac fan.
Yeah, but X-Pac wasn't really bad at wrestling.
I'm trying to think of somebody who maybe wasn't regarded as the best wrestler.
Everybody likes somebody, regardless if they want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
could
good.
say Test.
Okay, I
was
Test.
a big Test guy.
I like Jinder Mahal. I like
Jinder too.
There's a lot of guys that people really don't like that I've always liked.
I like Jinder.
Kozlov
I
was
can
another one.
acknowledge that Jinder can't even wrestle. I just think he was such a great character when he had the belt.
I think
I didn't mind him as the champion.
I think he's got a good move set, and some of his power moves are
he
good.
just has a really old-fashioned, slow, plodding style that did not mesh well on that SmackDown roster.
I've always liked the anti-American heels, the foreign heels.
Sure.
So like an Iron Sheik and a Muhammad Hassan, and I thought Daivari was great, or not Daivari, Jinder Mahal was great at it.
Well, I think the thing that I liked about him was just his intensity, and I love the Singh brothers, and I loved how he did make the title feel important and feel like it was this prestigious. You know, he always would come out with a red carpet, and he'd come out with that title, and he was always in suits, and I liked his swagger and his mentality. Didn't care for him in inside the ropes, but I enjoy him as a character.
And one more thing before we get Luke's guilty pleasure, the fans always get so pissed because they're not trying something new, right?
Yeah.
And then they try something new, and the fans are like, "Oh, that's not who we want."
And this is like going way off track, but I remember in that fatal 4-way for the number 1 contendership when Jinder won, I remember joking that Jinder's going to win this match, I bet, and become the number 1 contender. And then he totally did. And I was like,
I was butthurt at first.
Okay.
And then I was like, wow, he's actually keeping my interest. But Luke, who's your guilty pleasure?
Who's your guilty pleasure?
God, I'm trying to think of one that just like really can't wrestle. Because I really loved Ken Shamrock. Like
that's not really a guilty pleasure.
I know, but
I could buy that as a bit of a
like. I loved. I mean, Dude Love's probably not a guilty pleasure either. I love Dude Love. I get for whatever reason I liked Kurgan. I guess that's a guilty pleasure. That's a big guilty pleasure. He was terrible. I liked Kurgan.
Oddities era Kurgan.
And you know what? That's probably the only reason I liked him is because the stupid ICP theme that came out too.
Fair enough.
So see, we all have some guilty pleasures.
Show.
It's time though, Kyle. We have to talk about this.
I will have
now.
to say though, as much as I love these two wrestlers, this match was bad.
This was one of the worst matches I've ever seen, and
Kevin
I'm not
Knox
exaggerating.
sucks.
Kevin Knox is terrible.
His name's Mike Knox.
Oh, that's it.
Fuckers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got him and
New
Kevin
York Knicks.
Thorne
No. I
confused.
got the New York Knicks player. You're gonna be good.
I didn't know we were doing a shitty basketball podcast.
No, we're just doing a shitty wrestling one.
We're doing a shitty
It's
wrestling
fine.
podcast. To be very clear. Yeah, I saw Mike Knox's name on the Titantron, and I was just instantly wanted to go to sleep.
Not me.
Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly come out, and then Ariel and Kevin Thorne make their entrance. Ariel's outfit is absurd.
You also forgot
Booty.
that before the match,
I was gonna get there.
Okay, Kelly Kelly takes the mic from Justin Roberts and goes, "I hope CM Punk wins his match tonight."
I hope CM Punk does good.
It was And
then there's just Mike Knox just
I wasn't following the story at the time, but it just felt like it was completely out of left field. She grabbed the mic and she was like, "CM Punk, I hope you win tonight." And then like,
like very sheepishly, and then Mike Knox is just like, what
that did not make Mike Knox happy. So this again was a mixed tag match. So it was following WWE mixed tag rules, which means the associated genders get to be in the ring with each other at one time.
You were also saying that Ariel. What about her outfit?
Ariel's outfit, I wrote down, is alarming. And so she was wearing, so they're both dressed like they shop exclusively at Spencer's and Hot Topic. So
I made that joke
Kevin
first.
Thorne, you did. Kevin Thorne and Ariel were vampire characters, essentially.
Loved
Very mid 2000s vampires, mind you.
Before vampires became pussies, like in Twilight.
I think that was right around the time that vampires became pussies.
No.
When did Twilight come out?
It was right around that
I don't know,
time.
but Kevin Thorne was still badass.
I think Twilight was like 07, 08, so it was right around there. So Ariel's wearing like what would you call it? Like a spaghetti strap top with like a really short, like frilly tutu skirt.
Very short skirt.
And the skimpiest underwear that's humanly possible for a human being to put on their bodies.
Booty. Sorry.
So skimpy. And she was making sure to like always expose herself to the crowd. And I was alarmed the first time it happened.
Also, here's the hilarious thing here. Kelly, at least when she first came into ECW, like her entire gimmick was being an exhibitionist. Like there would literally be a segment on ECW TV where she would just do like a mini strip thing.
Yeah.
And she was literally she's the one with the stripper gimmick, and she was the most conservatively clothed.
She was the most appropriately
evening.
Dressed woman on the show.
Crazy.
We got to talk about this match now, though, guys.
I guess
there's really nothing to talk about.
We have to.
So Knox and Kevin Thorne start the match. Just some big boy work. Some just standard wrestling, some strike exchanges, some corner beatdowns. Knox does get a big boot for a near fall, and then Ariel and Kelly come in. The match just dissolves into a puddle of nothing until Ariel hits like a choke leg sweep for the win. This is a 0-star match.
And plants her butt on Kelly's face.
Yes, and then
you also forgot the when Kelly was pushing the corner and Ariel just put her foot up so everybody could just see her ass.
And there was a guy in the front row who was like like panting like a dog. It was I'm embarrassed for the sex. Yes, it was bad. This I don't see how this could be anything but a 0-star match.
0.
I give it a quarter.
Why?
Because I feel like there had to have been a worse one on New Blood Rising. I gave because the mud wrestling match on New Blood Rising was a 0, and so I felt like I had to give this remotely something. And I guess Ariel's booty was showing a lot.
I gave the mud wrestling a dud.
So that's
like a 0.
That's like a
0,
negative.
0, 0. Yeah.
They're both zeros. Let's be honest.
This match was as booty as Ariel was showing.
But did you also say Mike Knox disappeared? Like Kelly went to go tag him in.
I
and
forgot
just
to mention that.
He just left. He's like, maybe CM Punk will come help you.
I guess he was mad at the CM Punk thing because he left. After the match, the beatdown continues. Ariel is just giving Kelly the business, and then who would show up in the stands but Sandman?
And he's looking good.
He looks good here.
Yeah, he's slimmed down.
He comes out, he beers himself in the face as he always does.
He's
and
bleeding.
Then gets the
busted
kendo
open
stick
on the first
and
hit.
just destroys Kevin Thorne with his kendo stick, and then leaves. And that was Sandman on the show. I don't know why this was the match he was in, but I'm not going to complain about seeing Sandman.
By the way, they just don't make kendo sticks like they used to, man.
No, this kendo stick held up, and he was hitting him hard.
Because at Hell in a Cell, who had a kendo stick?
Roman Reigns, and he broke it like instantly.
Bro, he broke it like the first hit.
But to be
Sandman
fair,
was just.
Braun Strowman is made of stone.
True. Fair enough.
You're gonna get these hands, Luke.
But Sandman's just showing up, caning the shit out of people, leaving.
And then he had another beer when he was leaving and smashed himself in the face some more.
Yeah, and he was bleeding pretty good by the time he left.
I give that guy at least 30 concussions in his career due to
just the beers.
Cans.
Oh, for sure.
I remember when I was growing up, my dad and his friends would have my cousins smash beer cans on their head for entertainment, and it was so funny. My cousins thought they were backyard wrestlers, and they had a backyard wrestling promotion.
Of course they did.
They would bang the cans against their head and think they're so cool.
Is there videotape of that? Can we put it on the channel? Find it, please.
Okay, we've been looking for this video because this is totally off topic, but they had one match and they had gasoline and fire, and they're pouring the gasoline as they're walking, like because they're holding it crooked and it's like dripping, and then they light a match or something, and the ground just catches on fire. and everyone's like, "Oh shit, we need to grab a hose."
If you find that, and you can get permission from the people.
Oh,
who did it,
they'll give me permission. We just gotta find
we gotta
it.
repost it on the channel.
Oh my god.
Can you get a VHS to?
Oh yeah,
Oh, we'll convert
Okay,
the shit out
we'll
of that.
find it.
the technology exists.
I'm coming over tomorrow, Alex.
So after that, we get a video package hyping the main event. Lashley gets interviewed and just says he's the big man with the big plan. He didn't actually say that, but
He's so generic back here.
He's generic
And
now,
I'm
too.
gonna do it.
I should preface this by saying the TNA champion run Lashley, I was into it. For some reason, him in WWE, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. It just something
Doesn't
about
work.
it doesn't work.
His TNA run was great.
It really was. So we get the Extreme Elimination Chamber match up next
Thank
for the ECW Championship. We get the Big Show, who is the current champion, RVD, Hardcore Holly, CM Punk, Bobby Lashley, and Test. CM Punk is by far, him and RVD are by far the two most over people in this match.
They're really the only two people in this match that the crowd is invested in.
And LOL, they get eliminated first. We'll get into it. And this kind of will lead into a discussion about whether or not wrestling promoters should listen to their fans.
Ooh. Are you
Yes.
going to discuss the Heyman promo right before?
Go for it.
Okay, this is.
Because I was zoned out.
I really only have one thing. Heyman basically came out, tried to fill time, and tried to, trash the old ECW fans while talking about his new, his world champion representing ECW. So. Your world champion, the 500-pound Big Show. And then there was so little people there. You can literally hear this guy, just a random fan in the back that came over the mic loud and clear. Who's going to retire next year?
That was so funny. I'm so glad you remembered to bring that up.
I died,
because
dude.
it's now 10 years later, and technically he's still an active member.
But
on the roster.
we were literally saying that. No, and I guess it's 06, but and 08, we're like, no, dude, next year's the year.
Yeah.
Next year's the year.
We've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
But every year he just turns face to heel 5 times.
Yep.
And cries.
He's in good shape right now, though. Good for
Oh
you.
yeah,
Good
no.
for your
I
show.
love it. I love
hope
him.
you're around for a
They've
while.
just treated him like poo poo.
Yeah, so Heyman is essentially like the big bad heel man. He's the Vince McMahon of ECW at this point because, as we all know, this is like watered down WWE. This is like watered down and then watered down again WWE compared to what ECW. And we haven't even mentioned the fact that this is supposed to be ECW, and there was maybe one or two ECW chants throughout the night, but this is such a shell of the product that we even saw on One Night Stand.
It's pathetic.
That was just a few months before this. It is completely watered down at this point. The WWE hands are all over it, and it's there's no reason to watch it at this point. And it still had years after this to go. So we do get now the Extreme Elimination Chamber match, which is a normal Elimination Chamber match with weapons in each of the pods. So all the men make their entrance. We do start with RVD and Hardcore Holly. So RVD kind of like goes for a move off the top rope. Holly moves and he grabs the cage and then goes for a dive to Holly, but misses.
Like a springboard off the cage.
Yeah, and he crashes hard into that metal chain link flooring. And then RVD gets sent into the cage and slammed onto the steel floor. He manages to get in the ring and hits a rolling thunder outside of the ring onto Holly onto the floor, which was really nice. And then gets him back in the ring, hits a drop kick for a near fall. Punk gets in next, CM Punk, and comes in and just throws a chair at Hardcore Holly and takes him out. And then he tries for RVD, but RVD grabs it and throws it back at Punk.
They're really hitting each other in the head.
They're hitting each other with these chairs hard.
CTE.
Definitely. Punk hits like a leg drop famouser onto a chair to RVD, and then he that bloodies RVD. He lodges the chair kind of like into the corner and then just sends RVD at 1,000,000 miles an hour into this chair.
That was brutal.
And gets his head, stuck, like the classic spot, your head stuck in the chair, and then he takes the leg of the chair and just how would you describe it? Yeah, he kicked it. That's right.
He kicked the leg.
He kicked the leg of the chair, which just like choked the man out with the chair on his head. RVD is busted open good. The only man who would be red on this show, on an ECW show.
Well, it's funny.
No, Big Show.
Was Big Show bloody?
Wasn't it Big Show towards the end that was bleeding?
That's possible.
The funny thing is, though, right before that, I was literally like, during the RVD promo, I was like, dude, why doesn't he have very many scars? Like, I guess I don't really remember him bleeding that much, but he was in ECW.
Yeah.
Like, and then here he is busted.
Yeah, he was busted open good from
Chairs.
the chair shots apparently. So RVD is really good and busted open. Holly is recovered. He sends Punk into the cage and then suplexes Punk onto the rope, and then he superplexes Punk superplexes RVD, and then RVD comes up and super kicks Punk as he's in mid. So Holly's like mid suplex on Punk, and then RVD comes in and just super kicks Punk, and then both men go down. This was a really fun sequence. At this point in the match, I was like, this is awesome. This is a fun Elimination Chamber match. These three guys are working hard. They're doing their best.
Mm-hmm.
And then some interesting things start to happen. So Test is in next. He's wielding a crowbar, and then he comes in and
he's digging at Rob's head.
Digs it into RVD's head. This was awesome. And
Luke was squealing.
And this is a roided out looking Test too, man.
Test is looking jacked, maybe naturally, possibly artificially. Probably artificially, we'll say. Rest in peace, Test.
Maybe naturally.
And he comes in and he's just raking this crowbar on RVD's head. It was disgusting.
It was brutal. Luke was squealing like a pig.
I told Kyle to make him stop it.
And then he takes the crowbar and he chokes Punk out with it. RVD comes in, super kicks Holly, and then he hits Test with the chair, and then he gets a basement drop kick with the chair to Punk in the corner, that classic RVD spot. Then he hits the frog slash to CM Punk, and CM Punk is the first man eliminated.
And the crowd, who was starting to pick up during this match,
they were starting, to their credit,
are now deflated again.
They're done. They're shouting, "We want refunds." They're shouting, "This is..."
Oh yeah, they're chanting, "We want refunds."
So to kind of backtrack to the 2006 ECW, CM Punk was probably the most over person on the ECW roster at this point.
Easily.
And CM Punk and John Morrison are the only two of note that really came out of ECW.
Yeah, and he was set to have the rocket strapped to his back for the ECW brand, and who knows what heights he could have taken them to at this point if he was named champion.
Well, let's kind of go to a little backstage before we finish this match.
Yeah, please.
Heyman was this was his last show running the ECW brand.
That's actually a really good thing to bring up.
Because he was pissed off that CM Punk did not win this match.
Yeah, he wanted Punk to win, and the corporate leadership in the company kind of swung the band hammer on that.
And Heyman kind of threw a fit and was basically leave until Brock Lesnar came back.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing to bring up. And making Punk the first person out of this match was, to me, came across as a slap in the face to Heyman, a slap in the face to Punk, honestly a slap in the face to the ECW fandom at large. And this is where I wanted to talk about, should WWE, are they obligated to listen to their fans? I honestly say no, they're not. But in a case like this, when the crowd is so behind somebody and they're a talented wrestler and they have that connection with the crowd, that's the time when you strap that rocket to their back. And for them to eliminate him first, just what a slap in the face to the fans and to the performers. I thought this was a bad move. It made WWE look bad.
I think to an extent they need to listen to the fans a little bit. Not all the way.
Yeah.
I think they do need to see who's popular. They need to see.
Yes.
CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were both held down for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think both of them deserved a longer run on top. Because, believe it or not, a lot of the fans get tired of the same guy on top every night. There was a time where John Cena won every single match.
Dude, we couldn't stand him for a while
there.
there.
And I couldn't stand him anymore because I was so sick of him. Same with Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm that way with Roman Reigns now. I'm tired of seeing the same guy on top. I want to see Braun Strowman on top. But it's different with a guy like AJ Styles, right? Because with AJ Styles, every single match he puts on is a 3-star match.
And he has a connection with the crowd.
Right.
Yes.
And AJ tells a story when he's in the ring while putting on a good match. Yeah. I think Roman Reigns is a better wrestler than we give him credit for.
He's not a storyteller.
He doesn't tell a story, and it's the same match every time.
He's a very good professional wrestler. He is a good wrestler, but I just had an epiphany the other day with this where it was like, I know what it is. He doesn't tell a story in the ring.
Zach messaged me out of the blue just to be like, hey, I know what the problem with Reigns is.
He doesn't tell a story, and he doesn't seem invested. We're sidetracking now, but kind of to loop it back to the should they listen to the audience thing. This was the perfect chance to do that, and for Punk to go out first, man, what a slap in the face.
If Punk would have gone out as the champion on this card, I guarantee you we would not be talking as negatively about it as we are.
Oh yeah, because the match. It
would have been awesome.
Yeah.
There's no way that match wouldn't have finished awesome.
The show still would have been a floundering show.
It would have been a better, people would remember it more positively.
Much better. Yeah.
This reminded me a lot of the Royal Rumble 3 or 4 years back. when when Roman Reigns ended up winning. And Daniel Bryan was in it. Yeah. And everyone was losing their crap, just hoping anyone but Roman Reigns would win it. And then Daniel got eliminated pretty quick. And then people absolutely shit on that show.
Yeah.
The remainder of it. But to answer your question, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Yes, obviously you should listen to the fans so you know what's popular. However, I don't think you should cater to the fans. I think there's a big difference between doing something that's going to sell, or that's not going to sell, like shoving Roman down people's faces, or just random Vladimir Kozlov title reigns, crap like that. Stuff that's just not popular. Now there is, if you take a negative, like if you build up this face and build him up and have a huge heel knock him down who is able to get a lot of legit heat, there's a huge difference between that and going against the fans' wishes because they're going to want to see, the Daniel Bryans go over, versus just doing something that makes no sense, isn't going to make you any money, and is just really shooting yourself in the foot. I think that there's a huge white line there that, yes, you can listen to the fans and make good booking decisions.
Yo, I
just
agree.
don't cater to
That's
them.
a really interesting point, actually. I think the catering versus listening, but this was not a case of either one of those.
Nope.
So Punk is out.
Screw you, fans.
Yeah, Punk is out first. The fans are extremely disappointed, but they're still clinging on to hope because they still have RVD in this match. And to be fair, they still have Hardcore Holly in this match, who is not Sabu, who should have been Sabu. But they were kind of behind Hardcore Holly in this match because he was doing some fine work. His limitations were starting to show at this point in his career, but what he was doing was getting, the fans were kind of behind him in this match, and RVD obviously as well. So RVD hits a top rope standing drop kick to Test immediately after Punk gets eliminated, and then Hardcore Holly gets eliminated. Apparently, I missed this.
Well, it was weird because me and Luke caught it.
Yeah,
what happened?
Test pinned him, and then you finished because I don't really.
Well, no, Test pins the guy. The ref goes 1, 2. And then comes around and it looks like he hits 3, but very lightly.
But Test stood
up. And then
up.
Test gets up he's pissed that he counted the 2. What the hell's going on? Then all of a sudden the ref looks 3 different ways.
And
then
Holly's gone.
then he's motioning to open the door and get Holly out of there. And it was no, dude, you botched that.
Yeah.
Just at least have Test freaking boot him again, pin him again, so it's legitimate. No, it was a big time referee botch.
So now we're down to just Bobby and Test in the match. Because Big Show still...
RVD and Test.
Yes.
RVD and Test are in the match.
Oh.
Right.
But, so this just makes the crowd a little more upset because now I think they kind of knew what was happening and who the final 3 in this match were going to be. And so there was a nice sequence here. So Test and RVD are the 2 in the ring at the moment. RVD climbs on top of the Big Show's pod, and then Test hits him with the chair to knock him down. Test himself climbs up onto the Big Show's pod.
Well, you should say Big Show reached through the ceiling and held RVD to it.
Which made him unable to jump.
Yeah.
Does not hold Test because they're heels. And then Test hits an elbow drop onto RVD.
That was kind of cool.
With the chair on RVD's side, kind of, and gets the pin. RVD is eliminated.
Now this is what I was going to get to. Now you have Test and Lashley, because Lashley comes into the match.
Yeah.
And you have Test and Lashley, and everything slows down.
To a crawl.
Yeah, but you still have to... There's still all that time you're waiting with just Test in the ring, and then Lashley... Yeah, you want to talk... Do you have that written down?
Yeah, so...
Go ahead.
For some reason, and they did this later in the match, they continue the timer, so the man just gets to wait in the ring. I don't know why they don't just okay, well... Open the... Who's next? Show us who's next. It was more glaring with the Big Show, but... So, it is Lashley who is in next, but the goon squad of Heyman's kind of block the chamber, the pod, so Lashley can't get out. So what does the man do? He takes a table, which is lodged behind him, and he slams it up on top of the pod, and he actually breaks the chain that's up there.
Breaking the chain.
And then just climbs out like a lion.
Nice.
It was pretty awesome.
No, that was the coolest. That was one of the coolest spots of the match by far.
Yeah, I gotta give credit where
I've
it's
never
due.
seen that.
So they get in. He sends Test into the pod. The impact on that was just huge. The sound was really good too. And then he does it again. The pod doesn't break though, which is worth noting. Pod does not.
The first one doesn't it? The first one it caves in
a little bit, but we don't get to see someone really go through it until
go ahead.
Big drunk uncle later in the match. And then Lashley gets the crowbar, hits Test in the gut with it, and then spears him, and Test is out. And
Rip.
Test was only in this match for 5 minutes, maybe.
Wasn't very long.
He was not in this match for very long. He didn't do much.
And you know what? He
did
did
hit
look
that nice
good
elbow
though
drop.
when he was in there.
Yes,
he looked
did.
fine.
He did.
but he didn't really get a chance to do anything.
Yeah,
besides that elbow drop off the pod.
It was really a wasted.
So now we know it's
effort.
going to be the Big Show versus Bobby Lashley. The crowd is just continuing. These are the two people of all 7 men, because include Sabu, who were advertised for this match. These are the two people that the crowd did not want to see win this match. And these are the two that they get stuck with at the end. Lashley at the time was still somewhat limited in the ring. He was still coming into his own. And Big Show obviously is limited in the ring and was not in good shape in this match. But it is Big Show who comes in next. He gets sent right through a pod. The fiberglass does not hold this man. And then I like this part because he just bursts through the other side of the pod. He just shoulder tackles it down. And then Show gets the baseball bat that's wrapped in barbed wire, which was in his pod, goes to hit Lashley with it, but it gets stuck in the chain link cage, I guess, of the chamber. He can't get it out. He just keeps holding on to it, which allows Lashley to get some body blows in with the chair. And they get back. Lashley gets beeled into the ring by Big Show. And then Big Show goes for a choke slam. It gets countered into a big man DDT from
Spiked him.
Lashley to the Big Show.
Those are scary.
They hit some strike exchanges. Out of nowhere, Lashley hits one spear. One spear for the win. I made a joke that Roman Reigns... Bobby Lashley hits the spear for the win here. He is the new ECW champion. This match was the tale of two halves for me.
Yes.
The first half really good.
The first
second
half of this
really
match
bad.
was great. It was a 3-star match, 3.5-star match in that first little piece, and then one by one, every exciting person got picked out of this match in order from most to least exciting. Maybe flip flop Holly and RVD there, but they each got picked off until we were left with something nobody wanted, nobody asked for, but. Dang it, this is WWE. You're gonna
get your big men and you're gonna like it.
You're gonna like it. I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars, which is surprising because the second half of this match was not good. It blew. Booking wise, wrestling wise, but the first half was, so it balances out. I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. Not a great chamber match.
So up until Test was gone, I would probably say it was about 3 and a quarter.
Fair.
Once Test was gone, the ending, other than Big Show getting thrown through one of the pods, was just awful. Because
not only that, nobody wanted. The crowd wasn't invested at that point. They don't care who wins. Like, okay, either it's either gonna be Big Show or Bobby Lashley.
So I gave it 2.5 as well. I was really excited like halfway through that pod because I was like, this is awesome, and then it just died. And we never got more than like 3 men in the ring at once.
Never. That's what you get.
Studio Cat just being the Studio Cat.
Jeez.
Yeah. The eliminations kind of all clumped in the middle there, and just like I said, one by one, the most exciting performers were just taken out of this match. It blows my mind that this is what creatively they came up with to book a main event eliminate. It's like they didn't want the show to succeed.
Right.
It feels like that to me. It
right.
feels like the creative team did not want this to be a successful show.
Well, and I think it just goes back to what you said earlier about them treating it like a house show. It's like, okay, go out there.
This was like
next,
a house show.
You get out there.
Yeah.
Next. But I ended up giving this match a 2.5 stars as well. I think we're kind of unanimous on that. And that, man, there were some great spots. I've never seen, even later on when Lashley broke the roof open, which was
really unique.
Which was hilarious because he failed at breaking the glass, and then you saw it cave, but instead he can break chains with a wooden table. It's whatever. That was a cool spot. RVD had a couple sweet spots. The Test spot was cool. So it was all like, it started out great. And then it just, like a couple other matches, just the finish was just garbage.
Well, I think too, you see CM Punk get in the match, and he is hitting some brutal offense.
Yes.
He's showing you what an elimination chamber match should be and could be with the men that were in it, and to see him go, and then to see Holly go, and then RVD, and then just one by one they picked off.
It did really make me want to go back and watch CM Punk matches, though.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
honestly,
me too.
Had that going for it. I guess so. That was the main event. Overall, what do you guys give the show?
D
yeah.
for dumb.
I give it an E because I think it was worse than a D show. But
Man, that ain't no thing.
It's a thing.
Okay.
I can do whatever I want.
Sorry, Dad.
So I think it was a little bit worse than a D show, but I didn't want to give it an F because there were some decent things, and the decent things were the first half of the Elimination Chamber match and the last half of the first tag team match. That being said, I know E- because it was almost an F. I'm gonna give it an E-. It was really bad. I mean, it felt like a house show. I think comparing it to the other historically bad show we did, New Blood Rising, this was leagues ahead of that.
Yes.
The wrestling wasn't great, but there weren't that many outside of the main event. Obviously, there weren't that many overbooking, bad booking decisions per se in this show, but
It just was what it was.
it was just dull.
Yeah.
It was just going through the motions, and it just felt like they didn't. This was a C brand for WWE at the time, and it showed here.
You got something to say, Kyle?
No. Don't you have to give it your grade, or did you do that?
Yeah.
He gave it a D.
Okay.
I give it an E minus.
So then I'm going to clean up some housekeeping stuff for the end of the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
First things first, Luke Kilgore is now 0-3 in our fantasy football league and is about to be 0-4, last place.
Hey, someone's got to be in last, man.
Anyways, next week's show.
Damn it!
It was requested by Dakota Zankner, who has bought more shirts than anybody
Who
else.
is a massive friendo of the. He's the best friend.
Yeah,
of
he's the
podcast.
best friend of the podcast.
You're
even
the
though
man,
he
Dakota.
even though he doesn't think Brett screwed Brad. But anyways,
Oh, he did.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But okay, so next week is WrestleMania 10, and I'm going to go over the match card with you guys.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We got Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
I'm
Love
there
it.
for that. Is
Love
that
it.
is that in the steel cage?
No.
Okay.
I think
Then-
that was a SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep, and then we have a mixed tag team match
Oh, boy.
between Dink and Doink,
Oh no.
the Clowns, versus Bam Bam Bigelow
And
and
Luna.
Luna.
Luna
man,
Vachon.
I'm here for that.
I remember
man.
that crap.
And then we got Macho Man Randy Savage
Ooh, yeah.
versus
There's the
Crush
impression.
with Mr. Fuji.
Oh,
I remember that too. That's when Macho Man was like announcing, and then he was just like, "Nope, done with this. I'm gonna fight Crush."
Then we have Alundra Blaze versus
Medusa?
Leliana Kai.
No, Leilani Kai.
Leilani Kai for the
Oh, okay.
Women's Championship.
That's a good one.
And then we got some tag team title action between Men on a Mission versus the Quebecers.
Oh God.
We have a World Heavyweight title match with Mr. Perfect as a special guest referee of Yokozuna versus Lex Luger.
Yikes.
Which turns into something else.
Then we
Yeah,
have
we all know
Earthquake versus Adam Bomb. Then we have
Oof.
a ladder match, Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels.
That ladder match.
And then we have Bret Hart versus the winner of Yokozuna versus Lex Luger for the World Heavyweight Championship with Roddy Piper as special guest referee.
So an interesting card.
So a lot of big
you'll-
names.
You'll want to listen to that.
I'm
This
actually
is-
super excited because we've done a lot of 2000s and onward
yeah,
stuff.
this is
the
by far
first
the oldest
90s.
show.
First 90s we're dipping into, and my brother and I watched a ton of this. I've probably seen WrestleMania 10 like 8 times or something.
I've seen it, I think, once all the way through. I'm unabashedly not a huge fan of late 80s to early 90s wrestling.
Really?
Just
I
from
loved
just
it.
from an in-ring style. I mean, they were great
I
characters.
didn't like
but
late 80s that much.
not
but
necessarily from an
90s were
in-ring
great.
style perspective.
I did,
However, I'm looking forward to watching the show and talking about it with you guys. I think this is going to be fun. You're going to want to see it. We also have Evolution coming up, which I actually,
Ooh.
and that's in a couple weeks, but I will not be there for Evolution.
Yeah.
I will be off and about in the beautiful, bountiful land of Yuma, Arizona. So Luke and Kyle will be bringing you no live stream because without my technical expertise, they just can't.
Yeah, we kind of suck.
Don't say that.
Hey,
But
Alita and Mickey James, isn't that what got announced recently?
did it?
Yeah,
I'm there
that
for
match.
that. So they will be bringing you Evolution on Monday. No live stream for that. Kyle's looking at.
I'm trying to get the
something.
schedule of shows again.
Oh, here I got it. I can get it for
Okay,
you.
because
One moment.
I'm having a hard time. My Wi-Fi is not working very well.
So
Oh, here we go.
Oh, go
here
for
we
it.
go. So
Ooh,
next
yeah.
week is WrestleMania 10 fan
Mm.
request.
Mm.
Then we have Bound for Glory 2005, one of my personal favorite
Kyle
pay-per-views.
request.
That I had to
It's
get that
TNA,
one on
so of
there.
course.
It's TNA. Then we are going to have King of the Ring 1998.
Which
The
is the-
King of the
yes.
Ring.
Then we're going to have a Halloween Havoc 1996. Then me and Luke will be doing Evolution 2018. But then me and Zach were talking with some ideas today.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with. We're gonna have to get November kind of and December mapped out, and we will be doing that soon. We'll have to talk with.
We'll have to talk with Luke.
There will
but
be a
we're-
Survivor Series in there.
No, we're thinking maybe
03?
we're thinking 03 and a late 80s Survivor Series
Yes.
coming to you in November.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you have any other Survivor Series, we'd be willing to do
Three
Survivor Series. And in December, me and Zach were talking. What do you guys think about Starrcade?
I think it's
The
perfect
Hogan
time.
versus Sting.
Mmm.
I think it's the perfect time.
So let us know what you guys want.
Do you
and
have
we
that
will-
poster still?
I do have that poster, and
We're
we'll
just
make sure
It'll
it's
be on the
right
wall
here
right
for
there,
that
Yeah.
for
show.
sure. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. We love every single one of you. Back us on patreon.com/Big Boys and Body Slams. Just talk to us on Facebook. We want to hear from you. We love our listeners, and we hope you enjoy Big Boys and Body Slams.
And Lucas 0-3.
Oh.